Welcome to this quick video that's going to show you how to apply the EXPRESSVPN custom firmware. They produce this firmware for a limited range of routers. I'm working with a Linksys WRT 1900 ACS, although this will also work on a 1200 model and also on a 3200 model. I assume that you've been to Linksys website and already downloaded the firmware for your device. And I'm going to take a brand new Linksys router and go through replacing its firmware and connecting it to EXPRESSVPN. So I've plugged in the Linksys to the internet on its yellow port marked as internet, and I've connected it to my laptop on its blue ports, on its Ethernet ports via cable, so that I've got the Linksys connected to the internet and at the same time connected to my laptop. Now I know the IP address of the Linksys is 192.168.1.1. I open this up and I will accept the licensing agreements. I don't want to provide diagnostics to Linksys, although all of this is going to be lost because I'm going to be swapping the firmware. So let's go through the quick installation of the Linksys router when it's brand new, and then once we're inside the Linksys router we just need to do a couple of clicks to flash the firmware. So I'm just clicking on next through all these questions regarding the Wi-Fi login, passwords and so on. When the EXPRESSVPN firmware is installed, it will use the same Wi-Fi login credentials. Now, once you've flashed the firmware, you'll need a activation code. You just need to log into your EXPRESSVPN account online, and you will find a long code that is a activation code. This is literally, consider it a password to be able to connect your router to your account. I'm going to fast forward the video here whilst it's doing these steps to make this video quicker. Right, it's asking me to set a password for the router. I'm just going to choose admin, and I'm going to say no hint for the hint. Whoops. And here it's showing me the details that it's going to set, and I'm not going to use the smart Wi-Fi feature, and I've ended up now in the main screen. So we head over to the connectivity menu, and this is where we do our firmware upgrade, and we go to the manual section and we choose a file. I'm going to go into my EXPRESSVPN folder, and I'm going to find the firmware for this model, which is I've downloaded all the firmwares. I happen to have them here, but in this case I'm looking for the EXPRESSVPN Linksys WRT 1900 ACS model. Do not attempt to flash different firmwares if it does not match your model. The firmwares are specifically for the model in question and cannot be exchanged with other models. So in this case I'm going to choose that which is the correct firmware for this model, and I'm going to choose start. I'm going to choose update firmware. Now this doesn't take too long, it takes about a minute. It's going to flash, that is, it's going to write the new firmware onto the Linksys, and then it's going to reboot, and then it's going to boot up with the new firmware. So I'm just looking at the router. I can see that it's powering up again. It's just done and off, and it's turning back on. And this website is going to stay like this, and it's not going to update. Doesn't know how to update itself to go to the new firmware. So I'm just going to right now putting up here, if I'm correct, it's EXPRESSVPN router.com, and by going that I'm not actually going to the internet. Let me just wait. You're not connected to the router yet, it says. Let me just wait. Let me do a refresh. Oh, there's my notification from Windows 10 that the network has come back up. Let me refresh this. Let me put a www dot. That shouldn't make a difference. I guess I'm still waiting for the firmware to boot up. Oh, and there it is. So we waited a short while really for the firmware to kick in, and there's the Linksys. Now to access it, you type in expressvpnrouter.com. This is not a website that's out on the internet. This is the firmware on the Linksys capturing that address and redirecting you to the router. And we're now going to go through just 2 simple steps. We're going to get connected. It's detected that I'm connected to the internet. And now I'm going to put in the activation code. So I don't want to show you this activation code because it's an actual activation code. So you'll find that I'll be on the next step after this click. So I've put in the activation code and clicked on sign in. And now it gives me an option whether the router will report back to EXPRESSVPN with information on your connectivity. I'm going to say no. I do not want to contribute to statistics, and it's going to have the same default password as written underneath the router. This is still the password that the original Linksys comes installed with. We're going to click on continue. I'm going to put in for me a password. Remember this password. This is going to be your login password for the router. It doesn't have a username, it just has a password. And here's a little bit of information that I'm just going to copy and paste to keep on file. And I'm going to click on done. So there it is. It has already connected to a default UK VPN server, UK East London. And if I were to click on this menu here, I would be able to see all the sort of main connections that people could be interested in, USA, Germany, and so on. Although I can drill down and look at specific lists for around the world. As you can see, EXPRESSVPN has got coverage worldwide really, and all you need to do is click on the country and it will connect to it. That's a quick setup. You're now connected to EXPRESSVPN. You've flashed the Linksys firmware and we're all done. Thank you for watching and take care.